Hey folks, welcome back to the Portable Gamer, welcome back to European Truck Simulator 2, and welcome back to, I want to say we're in, Soria, Spain. And this is, I mean, it's not really the southernmost point. Valencia is the southernmost point, but this is like, you know what I mean? Most southwest. So I came down here from Zaragoza, and from here we're going to head to Irun, which is not Bilbao. We're going to have to figure out what to do when we get up here. It's about a 225 kilometer run up here. Not going to take too long. From here, we may deadhead over to Bilbao and pick up a load headed up this way. We are still in our little MP3 with the skin. And that's the city trailer. I was talking about it in the last video. It's hard to see. Camera's been jumping around crazy lately. I think it's because of some of these mod trucks and mod trailers, but it's just basically a short reefer trailer. So let's get going here. Now, after the way things went last time, after the way things went last time, do you think we want to run without the mini-map? I'm going to. Yeah. Oh, sir. It's starting already. Anyway, let's just do it. This guy. Thank you, sir. So, today is Friday. Well, it's Thursday for me, Friday for you. Why are we in a truck? We should be either on a motorbike or in a Formula One car. Well, the race this week in MotoGP 18 was at Bugatti Circuit Le Mans, and it rained, and things went really, oh, my voice. I don't know what is going on with my voice lately. Things went really well for your pal, Sweet William. That's me, by the way. Things went really well. They went too well, sir. They went too well. I practiced in dry, and then we qualified. It was a wet track, but it wasn't raining. Got on the pole by about 0.2 of a second. That's good. Numbers like that make me happy because I know I haven't completely potatoed the AI. Came the race, and I just walked away with it. It's not... I mean... Hang on, crossing the street. Let me get across here and I'll tell you. You know how I feel about that. Like, I want good racing. I don't just want to win. I want to have to win. I want to fight to win. And when I'm putting like 2 to 3 seconds per lap on second place, that's not really, to me, that's not really real racing, you know? And I was just racing by myself, so there wasn't even really anything to see. It wasn't like there were any passes. I wasn't fighting for position or anything. I wasn't defending. I was just basically doing hot laps on a wet track by myself. So it was not very compelling video. Moment. You know what? I just turned my lights off. Looks like I'm going to have to turn them right back on. So I thought, you know what? Let's just hop in the truck. The truck is where it all started. And it's weird to think about. Moment. I know I pause. when I'm doing this, and it's I just concentrate, man. I'm a concentrator. What can I say? All right, we want to take this yogurt. You say yogurt, you say yogurt. I'm going to take this yogurt up yonder. Where is it? There it is. So, yeah, it all started with the truck. When I decided to start the channel a while back, it started with the truck. Euro truck. And it's, obviously, it's, I'm driving on the side. Oh, God. Not only do I not want to drive up on this sidewalk, but I also don't want to hit that giant curb right there. Oh, man. Should I stop now? Should I just stop? It's... Oh, dear. Anyway. So, yeah, it started with the trucks, and when in doubt, you know, go with the trucks. So that's what we're doing here, and I don't know, I'm really... I I know it's only my Thursday. It already feels like Friday to me. Concentrating. Concentrating. Trying to avoid the wild swings that you get. The wheelbase on this thing and just all of it, it's really, really nimble. And I'm trying to avoid those crazy side-to-side swings that I get where I then start, like, compensating and overcompensating. I feel like he was overcompensating for something. Yeah, that's me. But at least we're in smooth. So we'll put it in neutral. Lights off. Engine off. Load that cargo. Plus, it's like, trucking's like the old reliable, you know? What could go wrong? He said. Right. Put her in gear. Brake is off. Here we go. So what is going on in gaming? What is happening in gaming? Well, I can tell you that... Now, I swear, man, I don't have any inside baseball. I barely have the outside baseball. Like, not only do I not know secret things that a lot of people don't know about... Jesus... What the hell? I don't think that has ever happened to me before. Ever. I know. I don't think that's ever happened to me before where I've seen a truck pulling into a yard. Certainly not pulling in like that. Like some kind of a damn lunatic. Man. Thank you. Starting already. So, the hell was I talking about? What's his name again? Oh, not knowing things. Like, not only do I not have secret inside information, I barely know the things that I actually do know. If that makes sense. Like, does that make sense? Like, I don't just not know things that you don't know. I barely even know the things that I know. I think you understand what I'm getting at. Maybe. Perhaps. So, the last video I was joking about maybe Beyond the Baltic Sea would not release until 1.33 came out. Well, 1.32 just came out. Whatever, 6 weeks ago. So I figured they were going to keep patching 1.32. You know, they're not going to get into 1.33. Well, sure enough, this morning I fire up the game and 1.33 is active. What? And it broke pro mods. So, very carefully, like imagine as if you were driving in a car and it slid like toward the edge of a cliff and it stopped just, you know, like one wheel off the edge of the cliff. You would move very carefully, very slowly. That's how I was moving. So what I did was, before I did anything, what is this? Oh man, I want to go back to sleep. I don't want to be a truck driver anymore. I very carefully, and before I did anything else, I very carefully backed up my profile and all my mods to an external hard drive and then to the cloud as well. And only then did I go back into Steam, and for one of the first times ever, I rolled back a sim, because you know I always have to have the latest patch. I always have to have like the latest and greatest. Not this time. Not today. I rolled back to 1.32 so I could keep pro mods. Only because, I mean, I'm comfortable pulling pro mods out. I believe we're coming off a mountain here because we were just speeding. I'm comfortable pulling pro mods out, and usually, I say usually, sometimes you can pull pro mods out and your profile will stay intact. Other times, no, not so much. I think it has to do with where you own garages and various other things, but rather than doing that, rather than messing with it, and I was okay with it because I had backed up my profile, so if it did wreck my profile, I could just reload it. But rather than messing with all that, and because everything is up and running so smoothly, and because the cast carry trailers updated this morning, and, you know, I just went back to 1.32. We'll go to 1.33 when pro mods. Yeah. And then my brain completely stopped. We'll go to 1.33 when pro mods is good to go. Now I suspect, like I said, I was joking about 1.33, and yet there it is. So I suspect that Beyond the Baltic Sea is very close at this point. So we'll see about that as well. But for the moment, we're on 1.32, and It took, I want to say about a week, maybe 10 days for Pro Mods to patch up to 1.32, so maybe it'll take a week or 10 days for it to patch up to 1.33. Who knows? I really am, I've got some bandwidth, as they say. I'd like to hope I've got a little bit of wattage in my cottage, you know what I'm saying? And at the same time, this is really getting to be a handful, like keeping track of all these sims and all these patches and all these mods and all these DLCs. I'm not complaining about it. I'm just mindful of the fact that I think I may be stretching myself a little bit too thin. And that I've talked about this before in other videos, but I think it bears mentioning again. So I'll go ahead and mentioning it again. Yeah, I've been playing a lot of race sim. I've been playing a race sim called Race Room Experience, or R3E. And I really am becoming more and more convinced that if you want to play serious race sims, man, I just keep speeding. If you want to play serious race sims, set the cruise control. Put an end to that. Golly, I guess in Spain when they pull you over, they just pull you over like right on the road. Although that guy seems to be broken down. All right, I take that back. If you want to be serious about race sim, it's not like the old days where, I can remember, there have been so many, something like Grid, I can remember playing Grid with my pals on console, and you'd sit around, you drink a beer, and you just pass the controller around, and you switch cars, and you do this, and you do challenges, whatever. It wasn't very methodical, and we had a great time. It was a lot of fun, but it wasn't very methodical, and it wasn't really, I don't want to say it wasn't hard, but it kind of wasn't hard. It was video game hard. It wasn't driving a race car hard. But these race sims now, man, they are so finite is the word that I always go back to. They're so finite. Like, they're so, you know what I'm saying? One turn on one lap can cost you a position and cost you a race. Or at least the win. It's crazy. And setup matters, and even how you drive the car. I'm running in Race Room now. I'm running a mod called Crew Chief, and they tell you about your tires. They tell you about tire temps and brake temps. They tell you about the mod, whatever. The way that tire wear is set up, like if you slide the car around, if you drive like an a-hole, you'll tear your tires up, and it will kill your lap times late in the race, to the point where you may be losing a position per lap. It didn't used to be that way. So I love race sims, but it's getting to the point where they're not, this sounds so crazy to say, they're not fun anymore. They're awesome, and I'm not suggesting that I'm gonna like stop playing them or anything, but they're not fun. It's not quite work, but it's not fun. Like Wii bowling is fun. Drinking a beer with your buddies and passing around the controller and playing Wreckfest is fun. But sitting in the chair for an hour, sweating with a bad headache, like absolutely laser focused on sorting out your bogey turns, because if you bogey them one more time, you're going to lose a position, and this late in the race, you're just trying to defend, you're just trying to protect. You don't have the tires to go hot rodding around. So if you lose a position, it is very likely that you've lost it for the rest of the race, and you're not going to get it back. And it's just concentration, focus, patience, discipline, a lot of frustration too. I mean, if you realize you got your setup wrong, or if you realize that like maybe you were off pace. All right, combine the two. You got your setup wrong, you're off pace, you just can't run with the leaders. But in trying to run with the leaders, you burned up your tires. So now you can pit and lose another 25 seconds, or you can just get past like one position per lap until whatever, who knows. So that, like I said, it's not fun, it's work. But it's not work. I say it's work because I'm looking for a word, but it's not work. But you get what I'm saying. So as I apply that to racing, it's like, no, man, you can't just, even if you own every car. And in a lot of race sims now, you just own every car. You can drive any car you want. Get the right gear here. Hopefully we don't crash. I've been getting a lot of crashes in Spain pulling away from toll booths. Looks like we're gonna make it. Maybe. Maybe. Yeah, we're gonna make it. So in something like Race Room, or in Assetto Corsa, or Project Cars, or R Factor, you own all the cars. You don't have to buy anything. I mean, in game life, not in real life. In real life, yeah, sometimes you do actually have to buy the cars. But I'm talking about in-game. You can race any car you want. And what's weird about that is just because you can doesn't necessarily mean you should. And all the cars are so different and the races are so hard. It's like the only way you can be competitive is to specialize in one car. And when I extend that out, like in a broader context to gaming in general, I feel like there is so much going on in so many of these sims with mods and DLC and everything else that it's like you almost can't keep track of it in a way that you could enjoy. Like you could keep track of it almost like a job, right? Like every day or every week or whatever, you know, you go through your list and you update your... Oh, we're getting so many hitches and hiccups here. Really hoping we don't crash. You see what I'm saying? That you would be... what are we doing over here? Alright, I guess we could have gone over there. I don't understand. But I'm running... Right now I have about 20 sims. And the majority of them support mods and DLC. And I do have to... Some of it happens automatically via the Steam Workshop. But I do have to, like, look around. Like Crew Chief. You got to go to Race Department and download that. Actually, you go to Race Department to find it. And then you have to go to its own website. And it's a thing. But that doesn't update automatically through the Steam Workshop. You have to do that. And when I think about 20 sims, I really am getting to the point where it's like, how do I want to say this? Like if I keep everything updated diligently, there are so many changes in each of my sims on a weekly basis that I really don't get to appreciate any of those changes because I can only dabble with it for an hour. And then, you know, it's like, oh, okay, now I got to go do this next thing. And I don't want it to get to that point. So I'm really feeling like... sir. I'm really feeling like I want to specialize more. And I assume that's going to be... Jesus. Oh. I thought it was faking me out. I thought I saw the invisible barrier to my right. And that I needed to go one more spoke of the roundabout. Oh, man. We're going to do this. I don't care what it takes. Oh, you know what? I didn't even think of something. Pause for a minute. Tangent. I didn't even think that when we get to Irun that there may be a job going down to Bilbao. And we won't have to deadhead. Right? Like, just because there wasn't one going from Soria doesn't mean there isn't one going from Irun. Okay. Cool. So, but you see what I'm saying. Like, I feel like I'm not giving any one sim an appropriate amount of love and attention because I'm sort of bouncing around. And that's my own fault because I brought too many sims in. And then into each sim I brought in too much add-on content, whether it's mod or DLC. So I think I might trim it down a little bit. And I think, I mean, obviously ETS, and I've said this before, like, this has got to be at the top of my list. If I could only have one sim, this would be it. Even though it's not really a sim. It's kind of a game. It's got simulator in the name, but it's kind of a game. But it's, I think it's just about an almost perfect game/sim. So this would be at the top of my list. Farm sim, got to be on there as well. Race sim, I don't know. Okay. I'm hurrying. I didn't even sleep, man. I've just been driving up here. We'll get there when we get there. That's right. So, Race Room I've really been enjoying. But it doesn't have a day-night cycle, and it doesn't have weather. So, I don't know if I would want to call that my only, like, my my go-to sim. I'm loving it at the moment, but you know, Project Cars is always going to have a kind of a special place for me because it just checks so many boxes. And the other cool thing about Project Cars is there are no mods. It's just DLC, and it's all through Steam, so it keeps track of itself. It updates itself very nicely. Assetto Corsa, I've modded it so heavily. In some ways, I've made a mess of it because I'm running, what is it, JGSME or something? I always forget the sequence, but it's the mod manager, and then I'm running content manager, and I've got a bunch of weather mods and sound mods and graphics mods and physics mods and just all these add-ons for Assetto Corsa, original Assetto Corsa, to the point where half the time it takes me literally 30 or 40 minutes to get it started, and I have to go through and like pull error logs and find out what changed and what's different. And eventually I always get it started, but like it takes a while with all those crazy mods running. But it's a great game. I love it. But things like MotoGP 18, I like it, but I feel like, as crazy as it sounds to say this, I feel like I've just got too many games going at once, too many sims going at once, and I'm really just bouncing around from one to the other to the other. So in the same way that back in the day you could bounce around from car to car to car in a race sim, but because the physics were kind of hokey and they all more or less drove the same, it was like not really a big deal. And I feel like sims used to be, in general, less sim, a lot less demanding maybe. And so you could bounce around and still have a great time, just like you can hop into Wii Bowling and have a great time. I don't know why I'm like fixating on a Wii Bowling, but it's just my example at the moment. But you can hop into something like Wii Bowling and have a great time. You don't really need to learn it, you know? You just hop in and enjoy yourself. Enjoy yourself. But I feel like that's not the case with things in their current status. I feel like it's just all so demanding is the best word that I can think of to use. So I don't know what that's going to look like. It's weird, and I try not to be a collector. I try not to be a hoarder. But there is an OCD part of me that is if you're OCD, you'll get this. There's an OCD part of me that's like, well, I mean, I already have it, I already own it, and it's not taking up too much hard drive space, so we'll just leave it on there in case we want to, do something with it later. But then I'll see that sim or that game in my library, and I'm like, oh, you know what? I don't want to ignore it for too long, because then I'll be like way behind as far as content and DLC and mods and various other stuff. I'll just tune it up, but I won't like play it or anything. Jesus, the spikes. So, one more. One more. Okay. I don't like Spain. I think I mentioned that last video. I do not like Spain, and I'm looking forward to being out of here. So then, I'm not going to play it. I'm just going to go in there to get it tuned up so I don't get too far behind. What is that? Okay, so that's a rest area by the side of the road. I suppose I've seen that before, but I can't remember where. Oh yeah, by some of the toll booths. But I've never seen it like on the road like that with no stripe dividing it. I had no idea. Okay. Now, where do we go? We go in here? We sure do. Okay. Whew. I'm going to finish my thought. I swear to God, I'm going to finish my thought. So I'll see the sim in my library. I say, well, you know what? I'm not going to play it. I'm just going to go in to make sure everything is up to date. And then I go in and, bring everything up to date. And now it's like, well, shit. While I'm here, let me just kind of check some of these new features out, so I'm familiar with them. Familiar, he said. And then the next thing, you spend an hour, playing around with the sim, and you're right back to where you started where I started, which is spread too thin, you know, all scattered as far as what we have going on with what sims, and I want to move away from that. I would really like to. Being super, super careful to avoid those, like, wide swings and corrections. And I guess the way to do it is don't make them. But what's tricky is I have the steering set so slow in this truck to kind of replicate that, you know, where you need to, like, reef the thing from one side to the other when you're going very slowly, which I guess is realistic, but it can make can sort of slow down the response time, I guess. Nope. Can sort of slow down the response time, and then when it's not responding, I crank it over harder. You know, I'll show you, and then of course it responds after I expect it to, and I'm behind the curve. You know what I'm talking about. Same thing that happens when you overcorrect in a skid. You know, you correct a little bit, and instead of waiting for it to catch, you're like, nope, didn't get it, so you reef it harder, and then it catches from the first time, which is all it needed, and then it catches from the second time and swings you over the other way. So that's more or less what I'm doing, but in slow motion. Right. Put that truck in neutral. Lights off, engine off. Let's unload and see how we did. Beautiful. Leveling up pretty slowly now. Pretty slowly. Let's take a look. Should I do it? I feel like I'm pushing my luck. I really do. Like, we made it down here. No game crash. No great catastrophe. Tell you what. Let's do this. If something is going to Bilbao, we'll take it. If nothing is going to Bilbao, we'll call it. Is that a deal? Valencia, Jonquera. Come on. I kind of want a job, but I kind of don't. Kind of want a job, but I kind of don't. Come on. Come on. Oh, son of a biscuit. Okay. Canned beef, canned tuna. Well, I think the tuna pays just slightly better. Yeah, by like 10 euro. Do we really want to do this? We really don't, but we're going to anyway. I'm a glutton for punishment, yo. Right. So we hop back in here. Let's see where this job is. 1 kilometer, right across the highway. So, lights back on. Put her in gear. Brake is off. Here we go. So yeah, man, that's where I'm at. I just need to let go of some sims. And I don't know which ones to let go of, and I think in a kind of a roundabout way, I think I just explained why. But you get it, you know? Oh man, everything in Spain is so narrow. We're doing okay. Yeah, we're doing great on fuel. Gonna make it. Gonna make it. Barely. Oh. Okay. Now where do we go? Over here, and then over here. So yeah, that's what's new in my world as far as gaming. Still waiting on Beyond the Baltic Sea. Still waiting on Farm Sim. Still waiting on the Long Island Railroad DLC for Train Sim World. And I'm trying to think. What? I'm gonna bring up the mini-map before I get all kind of flustered. That says go down there. That says go down there. What? Is it right there? What? What? Okay, so was that there before? You know what I'm talking about? Was that there before? I feel like this driveway was not like is not visible. Well, for one thing, it's... What the hell? Yeah, it's not... It's just a regular curb. It's not a shaved curve. Couldn't really spot it. Okay. You know what? Almost done with Spain. Almost done with Spain. I don't find this sort of thing to be challenging at all. I find it to be really cute. So, let's, I don't see any reason we can't get it in there. Go. Concentrating. Concentrating. Man, I have so much respect for sim truckers that can do this in cab, like on the good side, on the off side, on the blind side, in the dark, in the rain. They are absolutely legendary. Right. Lights off. Engine off. Let's load up. And it's not too far to Bilbao. This is going to be a nightmare, by the way. I should say goodnight right now, because this is going to be a nightmare. So, engine on. Lights on. Put her in gear. How far we got to go? 143 kilometers. That's not far at all. Okay, I'm trying to like memorize this spaghetti to get out of here. Right, here we go. We'll take a look when we're under a street light. This thing has a tiny little rear lift axle, but no indicator in cab. So I'm curious if that is up or down. I honestly can't even remember. So we'll take a look under a street light. So there's a speed hump. Okay, and then here, yeah, man, you just like drive right off the curb. I don't know what kind of outfit you're running, but that seems a little, just a little greasy to me. Right. There's no traffic here, and we got some streetlights, so let's take a look at that axle. And that is, no. That's too far. And that's too close. Game. Help me out here. Axle is down. Jesus. Nothing can be easy lately. It's a struggle, man. The struggle is real. Alright. Oh, that's cool. Now, is that an intentionally flickering light? Or is that a texture error? Huh. Alright. Let's not talk about it. Let's just keep driving. So, let me see what we're going to do down here. We're going to go through 18 traffic circles and just gradually make our way to the right. Okay. And it looks like we're up near the French frontier. I see a French flag in there, so we're pretty close to getting out of Spain. And then we're just going to head back in. Sure, why not? So we get through here. That's one. Two. Get rid of here, get back on the freeway. This is going to be awesome. This is not even really a traffic circle. It's just a ramp down to the freeway. Fantastic. Oh, whew. Okay. We're out of there. Now, Bilbao, if you don't know this, Bilbao is like, it's the craziest, man. It's like this super tight, super dense city full of nightmare ramps, and also it kills frame rate. So it's doing a lot for me. Right, let's go. I'm going to go over here, and I have been having toll booth crashes in Spain, so we've done enough today. We've done enough damage. 35 minutes of the game crashes here. Folks, thanks for stopping back to check out The Portable Gamer. Thanks for joining us for another episode of European Truck Simulator. Now, if it doesn't crash, then, yeah, okay. Forget I said anything. Let's just keep rolling. Oh, man. You know, I feel like there's some days when I just really... game crash. I feel like there's some days when I just really shouldn't record. I really do. But, you know, why not? Why not? Right, so we got that going. Info panel. Drift out of my lane. That's what I'm going for. Right, so let's get back over here. So we're at least in a lane. GPS says move over. Glad to. Bilbao. Fantastic. This is a crazy city too. San Sebastian is just unbelievably dense and complex. Can you see it in the GPS? Those are all real roads. Are you kidding me? Did you wake me up? Did you rub my lamp? That is ridiculous. It really, really is. In a good way. I don't know, man. I said before, I feel like all of Spain is just messing with you. Just a little bit, you know? It's just being cute. So we'll head down to Bilbao, and then what I'll probably do off camera is get us up into France and turn over a new leaf. Oh, man. I do like it. I mean, I really, really do. But it's frustrating in a way that just doesn't work for me. You know? I think, well, I'll tell you what I would really like. If I was watching somebody else deal with this crap and I was drinking a beer or like a cocktail or something, I would think it was not funny, like not laughing at them, you know, not enjoying somebody else's suffering, but it is like the complexity of it is fascinating. It's just when you're actually trying to do it, it's just, for me anyway, just a little, but be done with it soon. And we can say we did it, you know. That's something else that I really feel strongly about is like, what? Is that guy on a hoverboard? Everything's going to pieces in my world right now. What the hell was that? I ain't giving up. Okay. That guy's got a whole car. That guy's got a whole car. Okay. Little bit of a texture glitch, apparently. So, yeah, I feel strongly that, you know, well, like I was saying before, we have these sims, we have these mods. We sort of need to get in and kind of root around and play with them and, you know, check them out. Make sure that we're up to date. So, I don't know. I guess I feel like I owe it to myself as a sim gamer and as a fan of pro mods that I should check all these areas out just so I know for myself. You know, another part of Euro Truck, and it's not base game. I know there's some Russian cities in pro mods, but I ran Rustmap for a while, and I found it, I have to say, I found it, for me personally, kind of contrived. I know some people love it, but to me it was just a lot of long bumpy roads with no lights, and it didn't really do it for me. At one point I drove all the way from London to Moscow, just to kind of whatever, you know, just to say that I had done it. just to see what that trip is like. And at the end of it, I was just kind of meh, you know, eh. All right. So this is the toll booth where I didn't wrap up the episode, and this is the one that'll crash. No. Holding together, fantastic. And it's really, this trip is really not that far. 143 kilometers is like 5 minutes. So we'll get down here and drop this off. That'll take us right about to 45 minutes. We'll call it. And yeah, I can't quite start my weekend yet because it's only Thursday, but I'll think of something. I guess tomorrow I'll record ETS for Saturday. Man, what is it with these customers? Like, there's just like no time to deliver these jobs. It's crazy. It was 143 kilometers. We didn't sleep. We just drove straight away up here, speeding for a decent part of it, just a little bit, just speeding a little bit. And you know what I'm saying, man? Although we have leveled up to just-in-time delivery, so maybe that's, I don't know. This game is immersive enough. I've seen some YouTubers where they're like in character, and you know that's not my jam, but I have to say this sim is immersive enough that from time to time it does kind of, you know, like I realize I don't have an actual dispatcher, but every now and then I'm like, easy buddy, easy. So not there, but here. Okay. And we're actually doing really good on frame rate. We're about 40 right now. I'm curious what we're going to be at when we get into Bilbao proper. We'll see in a minute, I guess. So now, did it want me over? No, it did not. Okay, that's my bogey in Germany, where a lot of the interchanges and crossovers have the entrance and exit lane, and then they have the express lane, and your ramp may be another kilometer or two down the highway, but you have to get over onto that exit entrance like separate lane and get out of the express lane to have access to it. And if you're not over there, like, you can't get there. I do that all the time where I forget to get over, or I don't get over in time, and it sends me to the next one. And there have been times where I did that, and sure enough, we had a crash coming out of the toll booth. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm really kind of at a loss. I mean, I know it's because I'm running so many mods, but I know that these crashes don't happen anywhere but Spain. So, or at least recently they haven't. Let me put it a different way. So, I mean, it is what it is. If you want the game to run smooth, don't run mods. And that's no shame on the mod makers. I don't mean it that way. I just mean, like, the more mods you run, the more unstable your game becomes. And I have about 100 mods running right now. So it's, in a way, it's my fault. But I know I can get the game stable on more or less every other part of the map. But I do struggle with Spain. So, but like I said, it is what it is, sir. Okay, yeah, we went to the right place. Okay, so we don't have too far to go. Just another couple of minutes, but I figured we were close enough. We'll do a little editing magic and make it happen. And it's, I don't know, man. I don't know. I can't imagine running without my mods. But I don't know if there's ever going to be a way to, how do I want to say it? Like, completely stabilize a sim, any sim, when it's heavily modded. I mean, you're putting things in that are not, what's the word I'm looking for? They're compatible with the developer's code, but they're not necessarily made like to the same standard or in collaboration with, and even something like, the game going to 1.33 today. I was under the impression, it was my understanding that the crew from ProMods has to work with SCS because they sort of need access to the game before the rest of us have access, like to a patch or whatever. They sort of need that access because it takes a while to put together something like a ProMods patch. So they would have to have access because they need to start their prep work like weeks or months in advance. And then other times I think, maybe they don't have access. Like maybe they're only working with the same code that we as consumers have access to. And if that's the case, then maybe there's not collaboration. Maybe they don't have like the inside scoop. And I'm gonna go up here. I'm gonna go down here. Okay. And this is gonna be like the classic way too tight example of Spain. I think I literally remember this ramp. So yeah. Okay, good so far. So you know what I mean. For all the hard work that modders do and for all the amazing, I don't know, like they make the game different, they make the game better. But at the same time, I feel like they're flying blind sometimes as much as we are in terms of like new stuff that's coming. So they don't always have that collaboration. And for that reason, I think their code may not always be optimized or whatever in a way that gives the stability that you have with developer code, which is obviously all written in-house and all written for itself. Having said that, I've played some sims that are, even with no mods, they're not 100% stable. So it's a mighty task, is what I'm saying. And I have so much respect and appreciation for what mod makers do. But I know that when we use mods, we destabilize the game. There's no other way to say it. So it is what it is. But we'll get through it. And I think we may even be on time. Now, when we get down here, as soon as we pull in, I'm just going to drop off. I'm not going to bother backing in. Let's just get it delivered and get it done with. We stay to this side. We go to this side. Man, we are like way down by the docks. Next episode, we're going to be back in France. I think we've all seen enough. Now, where's my turn? It's not this one. Is it this one? I feel like it's this one. Or is it that one? Ah. Is it that one? It's that one. Moment. Is it this one? I think it's this one. Wow. Yeah, even with the mini-map, it's so easy to get lost in here. Oi! Probably don't need those. Whew. Right. I'm calling it. How'd we do? It's slowly leveling up, slowly. Folks, thanks for stopping back to check out The Portable Gamer. Thanks for joining us for another episode of European Truck Simulator. And we'll see you next time. Take care.